Hello and welcome, friends. I hope everybody's had a great day so far. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're back, welcome back. I greatly appreciate the ongoing support. This is my channel, Dragonsjewel, and I'm Tegan, and I'm just going to get all that wonderful YouTubey stuff out of the way first. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please consider doing so. It's just down below. If you like the content that you see, don't forget to hit like, and of course, any love, comment, suggestions, all those wonderful things. There's that comment section down there as well. As you can see, we have a diamond painting in front of me today, so that means we are going to be doing our good old whip and chat, and whip just stands for work in progress. So I'm working on this diamond painting, obviously. I haven't had much of a chance to work on it because things have been busy. I've been running around. There was one day I was barely even at home. I think I came home for about 20 minutes, let the dog out of his crate, go bathroom, and then he went pretty much right back in the crate after getting about a 10-minute snuggle on the couch with me before I was off again. And then I got back about maybe 20 minutes before my son got home from, well, 20 minutes, half hour before my son got home from school that day. So, yeah. Needless to say, I'm going to get my color going here. If you want to diamond paint along, then diamond paint along. If you just want to listen and get some stuff done around the house, that's great too. Kind of treat it like a podcast. We'll be catching up on the last 2 weeks. Make sure you got a wonderful beverage on the go. I have my coffee like usual. Yeah, I'm a coffee fiend. I'm usually drinking coffee the majority of the time. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the day, the beginning of the day, the afternoon, sometimes even the evenings. The caffeine doesn't actually affect me. I can drink coffee and then crash for a 3-hour nap very easily. For me, it's mostly a taste thing. It kind of perks me up a little bit, I guess, in the morning, but part of me also feels it's more of a habit at that point too. It is Thursday morning right now. We are at about 9:30 a.m. My son has already been off to school on the bus, and so it is an early dismissal day for him, so he'll be home an hour earlier than normal. But I figured I'd get this in before he gets home so that I can either edit it and get it out, or edit it later tonight after I'm done my commitments for the day, so to speak. So yeah, we'll just dive in. We are going all the way back to pretty much the end of November. So November 29th is technically about the time that we're looking at going forward. Today is the 11th of December. So yeah, we're basically kind of looking at that time frame. Not a whole bunch happened at the end of November. It was kind of a status quo for us. Just going to school on school days, hubby going to work on work days, our kind of usual daily routine. So there's not a lot to really say for the end of November, but at the beginning of December is kind of when chaos hit the fan, so to speak. My hubby took off on the 4th through the 8th, and he was actually down in Chicago for a convention, so he was away for that time, and it was just me, Ace, who is our dog, our one dog that we have left, and our little man. So we kind of, because he left on a red eye on the Thursday night or Wednesday night or whatever heck night that was, I think it might have been a Wednesday night. Basically had to keep up the status quo of our normal weekday kind of routine of getting the little man off to school and whatnot. And weekend, it was pretty busy over the weekend, because it was my mom's birthday that weekend, so we celebrated her birthday on this Saturday, and we started our morning with a book sale at our local library. The location, we've got a couple libraries kind of throughout the city. Depending where you live, you can usually find one close to you, but this particular book sale, they kind of rotate locations. So this month's one was at the downtown location, so that one's usually a really good one to hit up because it's a fairly large. They take over kind of a common room in the library that's down kind of in the basement of it. It's a larger building, so there's tons of room to set up tables and donated books that you can purchase. All the money, of course, goes back into the library too. Prices are super reasonable. It's basically kids' books are $1, paperbacks are $1. Any hardcovers are only $2. They do have CDs and DVDs, and I think those are like $3 or $4. And then on Sunday they do a deal where they provide a certain size box, and basically you can fill that box, and it's only $10. Of course, we went on Saturday, so that didn't apply, but still, we were perusing around doing our books. I managed to snag most of the books I snagged were I got a couple of trip books for Scotland, 2 different ones that kind of just break down some of the touristy locations of Scotland, things that you might be of interest in Scotland, kind of thing. Shows me a little map of Scotland, of course, a little bit on where to eat and whatnot. So mine are, I think, from 2024, so they're not the brand newest ones, but new enough that it'll kind of maybe help narrow down and give an idea of kind of what we want our Scotland trip to look like a little bit more. And then I managed to find a couple of books to fill out gaps in series that I have books for. So like a couple of them I only had book 1, or I don't have book 1 but I've got book 2, and so that kind of thing. So filling out gaps to kind of, so I can get around to reading the series. And it's because otherwise I'd be spending a super ton amount just to get brand new, which, I mean, sometimes I have a really hard time finding the ones I need, but I also try to see how many I can find first at like these book sales at reasonable prices, or sometimes in free little libraries I'll come across them and then I'll snag them from there. And yeah, so we had that. That was going pretty well. We had to bring the little man along, of course, because my parents usually take him on the Friday overnight, so they had him. And with the hubby being away, we couldn't ask him to watch him. And we were going to go to another event afterwards anyways, in celebration of my mom's birthday, so it was just easier to kind of do it that way. And of course, with that being said, he's G-tube fed, so we were coming up to his time to feed, and my mom was getting ready to feed him, and she realized that she had left the his feed stuff out in the van in the parkade. So we had kind of parked on what was considered like their lowest basement level, because that's apparently where they were told that, or had on the signs to park if you needed handicap access for the elevator, which my aunt uses a cane to get around, and she does have a wheelchair now for when she gets really tired, especially if we're doing long walks. So we did have the wheelchair with us too, just because we were doing like a bunch of events, so there was going to be a lot of walking between the book sale and this other event. So we had the wheelchair with us, so that's where we parked. Well, I guess my mom took my son down there with her, because he likes to tag along, and just as she was coming down into the parkade, she caught a lady rifling in the van. So of course she yells, goes chasing after this woman, grabs her, I guess, by her backpack, and because she had yelled, the security guards, who were like about a level up, I guess, they kind of came and peeked to kind of see what was going on, check it out, and they saw her chasing the lady. So they, of course, came in and intervened. When she caught her by the backpack, they actually then kind of assisted and had her open up the backpack, make sure she hadn't stolen anything she had tucked away in there. So what my mom managed to get back from this lady was my winter coat, because we were in a warm parkade. We had all put our coats in the vehicle. So I got my winter coat back, thankfully. It's like my only one. I've had it for years. Super hard to find a nice fit for me and one that I liked. So super, super glad for that. It's also not a cheap winter coat either. It's, yeah, so glad about that. I mean, there was nothing spectacular in my coat. I had some cheap little thin kind of mitts and strawberry candy. So not like I was worried about what was in my coat. It's more the coat itself. And I mean, right now where I live, we, like today for example, is minus 24, which is in Celsius because I'm in Canada. And we have a wind chill that's making it feel like minus 33. So yeah, winter coats, nice and warm, big deal right now. Especially since I would have been left without one. I'd be trying to shop for one right now. Trying to go out and stay warm at the same time. Yeah, so that's that was good. She had my parents had his feed in like an insulated kind of lunch bag kind of thing, cooler, zip up cooler kind of thing. She had that with her, so that I guess really is what pissed my mom off, is that she had that. And I guess my mom said it was very hard to kind of hold her temper back at that point too, so she was kind of glad that the security guys were there, because that kind of held her back from wanting to haul off on the woman. So there was all of that, and then on top of that I had brought my mom her birthday gift, and she had gone into the I had it all kind of nicely wrapped in some tissue paper, and each individual item wrapped that way and then put in like a gift bag. Well, she had grabbed one of the items. I don't know which one, but she had one of the items from my mom's birthday gift on top of things, because that's what she'd been rifling through when my mom hollered, so I guess she probably just grabbed it and ran, along with whatever she was holding. But she had all of our coats piled on the front seat. She had, I think by the time everything settled down, the adrenaline, all of that, she got my stepdad to come down and stay with the vehicle afterwards, just in case. And then she came up and got us, and we did a quick feed for my son, bought what books we had on hand pretty much, and took off from the event at that point as well. And yeah, and then when we got back into the van, I guess, because my stepdad went down and kind of kept an eye on it, he went through just to double check to make sure that to kind of see what was missing. I guess she had all the dashes open, she had GPS unplugged, but I guess my mom was saying the way they have to plug in her GPS, they ended up drilling a hole somewhere, and I'm guessing they're figuring either she was getting ready to try to fully detach it, or she was struggling to detach it. Either way, she had definitely planned to take off with their GPS. And there was nothing else missing. I mean, the only thing she did get away with was some loose change that was in my parents' van, so she probably tucked that in a pocket. And my mom didn't even, my mom's like, whatever, loose change is loose change, because she's like, she maybe got $5 by that. And why my mom says that is usually because all it really is like a couple quarters, maybe a loonie or two kind of thing that she keeps in her van for kind of parking meters or shopping carts kind of thing, because we have to put like depending where you are, either a loonie or a quarter into the shopping cart to borrow it to go shopping at some of our grocery stores here. So usually that's something most people kind of keep in their vehicle, is one of those on hand, so that they're not always digging through their wallets. So that's a very, very common thing. So yeah, that got everybody's adrenaline going, that's for sure. And I mean, we were very, very lucky on timing. I strongly feel that either my grandma who passed away years and years ago, or my uncle who passed away a few years ago, or somebody was keeping their eye out on us for sure and keeping everything safe that needed to be kept safe. So things definitely could have been a lot worse. The fact my mom pretty much chased this lady and my son was down the parkade. I mean, there's all those scenarios that could have gone wrong too. Yeah, but so we were glad it turned out the way that it did. It definitely could have been much, much worse. But it definitely, like I said, kicked everybody's adrenaline into overdrive. Mom got her birthday present back, so none of that was... She still got to enjoy all the stuff that we got her for her birthday. We moved on at that point to the next event that we were headed to, which we had tickets for. I think it was 1 p.m. or something like that was our entrance time for it. By the time we got there, it was only like 10-15 minutes until our entrance time anyways, so we probably needed to be leaving the library anyways as well, on top of things. The only thing my mom guessed is maybe she hadn't locked up the van because we were so distracted and busy when we got out, making sure we were parked on the right level. There were 5 of us there. We had Riley, who's, you know, a handful of himself, and sometimes so there's all of that. So she figured maybe she didn't lock it. So let me tell you, when we got to our next event and parked, even though we weren't in an underground parkade or anything at that point, she must have hit that lock button on the van a good 10 times. So we're standing in the parking lot and it's going beep, 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 locking. And I just turned and looked at her and laughed and says, I think it's locked now. And of course, people walking in the parking lot are looking at us like we've got 2 heads or something. So of course we had a good little chuckle about that. But yeah, our second event was an event called Glow, and that's a Christmas light event that they have at this time of year. It's an indoor one. They set it up in our like big conference center where they hold they do all sorts of things in that center. They do events, they do expos, they do trade shows, they do markets and vendors. They put on our big summer festival there. They put on shows in one of the theaters. So I mean, it's a massive center. They took over, I think, 2 halls, 2 of the larger halls for this event, I believe, was what it was. And the theme was Enchanted Forest. And so that was our next event to kind of celebrate. First year going. It was massive, had way more to do than I thought. I knew obviously the lights and the theme. And then I had read that they had like a couple of food trucks for food, and they parked them right inside too in one of the halls areas and set up like a bunch of seated area that you could sit down and eat at. Then they had a bunch of vendors that you could shop. They had a Santa that you could pay for your kids to have their photo taken with. They had, what else did they have? Plus the lights, and then as you come in, you have the option to like grab a book and find these little mushroom houses, and you station. They're like little mushroom houses that serve as stations, and they have a stamping thing at each station. So if you find them, you get this book stamped, and then you can hand it in for a little prize. And then the other thing was a bingo for the vendors. So it was like a little bingo card. They randomized all the different vendors on it. So some cards had... not all cards had the same vendors necessarily. So you had to kind of pay attention to that, and you wanted to... What they were doing with those was basically you would go for a line or a bingo. You should come across the vendors and then turn it in for a chance to win some prize in a draw kind of thing. So they made it very interactive and kind of fun in that way. So there was that as well to do. So yeah, there was lots. They also had a little kind of play area set up for kids that was like a little indoor kind of gym. It was kind of like a castle that had slides and climbing areas and all of that, like a fairly large sized one. And then a little snowball fight game. So basically what was their version of snowballs, that there would be targets that the kids could throw it at when they went inside like this little maze-like structure thing. So they had that on the go as well. So tons and tons of things to do. Oh, a little train to ride as well. We were trying to get Riley to do the Santa, but he was not staying in line. He was starting to act up, go after the like little fencing kind of posts that kind of keep your line in one spot. He was starting to go after those on my aunt, because my aunt said, oh, I'll take him over now, but me, mom, and my stepdad were still eating. So of course then he had to wait, and of course he chooses to do this when my aunt stops paying attention to him in order to talk to the lady who's asking for a phone number to send the picture to. And on top of this, my aunt had just gotten a new phone number for her cell phone, so she doesn't know it off by heart. She doesn't even remember it. She's trying to communicate this to the lady, and the lady's insisting, well, we need it, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Riley's not listening. So yeah, she just had to walk away and leave that lineup. So we didn't get to do that, but he did get to go on a train ride with his nanny. And then we did my stepdad and my aunt chose to do the vendor bingo. I kind of helped my aunt with the vendor bingo too. And then I did a little bit of shopping at the vendors. Nothing major, just a little bit. And we, of course, walked and checked the lights, which were gorgeous. They kind of had one area that was like a garden with some beautiful trees and some fairies, and they had mushrooms all over the place. One spot they kind of had these large massive foxes sitting in like a forest, winter forest kind of setting. They had a talking tree that was telling stories that you could press with an activation button, which at first Riley had no idea what to think about that, but then he promptly kept returning to activate it at the same time. So he was having some fun with that for a bit. He did start to get overstimulated after we had been there for probably 2 hours or so. So he started really acting up. He started kind of going after the fencing. Not the fencing for this Santa lineup, but like fencing that had been set up around the train ride area. And then he started going after fencing that was just had lights on it that kind of sectioned off each different like display area of lights. And so at that point we were kind of getting to the end, and we kind of had to get going because he was revving up and becoming quite the handful. But it was, like I said, there was a ton to do. It was a lot of fun actually, and quite beautiful. I took a bunch of pictures, of course, just with my cell phone, but that was fun. And then we decided pretty much had a dessert for dinner, which was my mom's birthday cake. We quickly stopped in. She picked a cake that she wanted, and then we went back to her place, cut it up, had some ice cream with it because she had some ice cream at her place, and that's where she kind of opened up her presents. It was back at her place. And then pretty much, because Ace had been in his crate most that day for quite a while by that point, I generally don't like leaving him more than 3 or 4 hours because he's very used to me being home all day. By that point, he had probably been in there at least 6, maybe 7 So yeah, definitely getting to more of like what would be a work day, because that he's not used to that. It was, I kind of took off and headed home again. So yeah, that was all on the Saturday. So that was a super long, busy day. And then on the Sunday, my aunt came over for her normal little visit and time. And that went fairly smoothly, nothing crazy yet, which was kind of nice after the Saturday that we had. And then, yeah, and then we kind of went in. By that point, my hubby was still away because he would have came back on the, I think, the Monday night, about dinner time-ish. Well, anyways, Riley goes to school, back to school on the Monday, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I need to wash up his laundry, get him some clean G2 pads and stuff like that. So I figured on the Monday I was going to tackle his laundry. But of course, life always has other plans for me. I get his laundry going, I do his wash, I throw it over into the dryer, and then throw his second load of clothes into the wash and start it up. And then I'm noticing that at this point, the dryer hasn't started. So there's power going to it. I can select and kind of go through the different cycles of the dryer, because there's a bunch of different cycles on it. I can do a time dried, a quick dry, an air fluff, a steam, a regular just dry cycle. So yeah. So I start playing around with the cycles, and I'm pressing the start button, seeing if maybe it's just a certain cycle that's not running. Nope, none of them. None of them wanted to run. So I could not figure out what was going on. I checked the lint trap, going, well, maybe it's I need to empty the lint trap. Then my next line of thought was, well, maybe there's something outside blocking it, like some ice or something like that. So I go out and I check the airflow vent on the outside of the house. Don't see anything there. Come back in, and I was like, well, I'll unplug it and plug it back in to see if maybe it just somehow froze up, and that'll restart everything. Much like how techs tell you to turn on and off a computer when there's an issue, a lot of times that can reset whatever's going on. So I kind of had that line of thinking with the dryer. Yeah, still no luck. Darn thing is broken, not working right now. So yeah, this is of course while hubby's still away. So I just let him know the dryer's broken, what I've tried, all of that. And I know he's not going to look at it the second he gets home. In fact, I know he's not even going to look at it because he's going back to work on the Tuesday kind of thing. But just so he knows, when he's coming home, we're pretty much just hand washing and hang drying anything. So that's what I had to do with all of Riley's wet clothing. I pretty much took over the elliptical as a clothes drying rack. Any chairs or surfaces down in our basement pretty much became a drying rack. Just let his wet laundry explode all over the basement so it could dry. Because if I start trying to hang it up anywhere upstairs, he's just going to pull it down and off, and it's going to get all dirty, and because he's left it on the floor kind of thing. So I figured that was the safest way for it to dry and not tempt the little man at the same time. So yeah, that's what we've been doing right now for our laundry. The hubby's back home now though, and his work week is going to be done after today. Today he's doing some training, but then he's likely going to be on holidays for 3 weeks. Right now, there is talk that they want them to work a couple of days just before Christmas, but he's going to have to get that cleared with his doctor because he's getting a procedure done just before. And he's been noticing the last few times he's done overtime, his gut, because he has colitis and whatnot, hasn't been doing so well with that, so he wants to talk about overtime basically with them. So he might end up refusing depending what the doctor says. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Tuesday we had I'm a hot mess right now with how busy things have been too. Tuesday we had I'm getting into that story, of course. Had a home nutrition appointment for the little man, and my mom wanted to join us on that one, so she came with and just picked us up, and we went in her van to the appointment. Well, I wasn't thinking, and I directed her to the building where we go see Riley's pediatrician. Well, we get to the underground parkade there and park, and then we're hopping out, and I go, wait, he's got a home nutrition appointment. That's at the Stollery Hospital. Thankfully, his pediatrician and the Stollery Hospital are literally just across the street from each other. But we have to get out of the parkade, go to the proper parkade in order to access it. Yeah, so the appointment that they wanted us 15 minutes early for, so that they could get a weigh-in done and all of that prior to us getting in, well, that did not happen. We got the appointment on his scheduled appointment time. So, I mean, we still need the appointment on time, technically. But I don't know why my brain just had a mind of its own and directed us to the wrong spot because I was tired, busy, brain's just not working the way it needs to right now. It needs a mental break. So yeah, that was fun. I mean, we made it. There's at least that. But yeah, so his home nutrition was kind of like his annual checkup. They weigh him, they take his height, they look at the sizing of his G-tube, make sure that with any growing he's done, that it still fits the way it needs to fit. Also, if there's any signs showing that he's stalled in growth, that kind of thing, so that they, if they need to increase his calorie intake, that kind of thing. So it was pretty status quo for an appointment in that sense. What came out of it is that he's looking like he might have stalled on his growth a bit. He hasn't really grown too much in the sense of weight. He's gotten taller, but he hasn't really gained weight. So he's a bit on the lean side in that sense. So they're saying that we'd probably be due for a calorie increase based off that, but he's already being fed 4 times a day with his special formula that he's on, because it's G-tube, it's all like a liquid diet. So essentially it's like a all nutrient, fiber, calcium, all of that he needs in one formula. So we get it through the pharmacy. So basically, because he needs more calories, and they didn't really want to increase the amount of liquid he's getting each feed if they don't have to, just because after a while it does kind of become too much, would make him too full, that kind of thing, or we'd have to add, reduce the liquid but then feed him more often, that kind of thing. So trying to avoid that if we can. Right now it's perfect because the amount he gets per feed is an entire Tetra Pak, so we don't have to open a second Tetra Pak or anything like that to get him fed. So that's nice too, if we can avoid that. So what we're gonna try to do, because he's really difficult to eat with his oral sensations and all that he has going on too. He can bite, but he hasn't learned, he hasn't figured out the chewing. side of things, he can swallow. So there are things like yogurt that we know he loves and can finish. Ice cream. So we've seen him polish off like what we give him of a little bowl of ice cream. So we're thinking we'll try to get him to eat yogurts, and we're gonna give smoothies a try. See if he'll drink like a cup of a smoothie and go that route instead. If we can get him to do that and get the extra calories that way, that would be ideal. So she said give that a try, and basically we'll do a phone follow-up in like 3 to 6 months, see how it's going, and reassess at that time. So there's that. His G-tube, it's still a good length. It looked good. There was nothing. The stoma site that it's in is good. They also talk about the supplies that we need and use for him with his G-tube as well. So discussed any issues kind of surrounding any of that as well. So yeah, it was pretty standard. Just really what came out of it is this extra calorie thing. So we're going to give that a try, see how that works. See if we can't get him to drink a cup of the smoothie or have a yogurt here and there each day kind of thing. So we'll see. That'll be, if we can get that going, great. But I don't know, sometimes he can be have a mind of his own when it comes to actually eating food sometimes. That's why he's still on the G-tube, of course. And then I had a phone appointment with his peds. That was the doctor that I accidentally directed my mom to park at during her home nutrition appointment. We actually did have an appointment, but it was a phone appointment, and it was the next day. So I had my wires crossed for what was what, pretty much. Just because I've been so busy, so distracted, so whatever. Tired. So that phone appointment was pretty basic. It wasn't because we had any issues or anything to discuss, or even really like any sort of follow-up for anything for him. It was because we got Riley, who's my son, into a program called Little Bits, which is a riding program for kids with special needs. So there is a little bit of a kind of medical physician form that needs to be filled out for his enrollment into that, and that basically just lets them know some of his kind of behaviors, any medications he's on, if he has a G-tube, a stint for any reason, any heart or pacemaker type devices, that kind of thing, any mobility issues, all of that's pretty much on that form. Anything that they need to basically adapt or kind of look out for with each child that's coming into the program. So like his asthma would be on there, so they would, you know, if they need to, they might need his puffers, that kind of thing. If his G-tube comes out, then they know that could be a possibility, right? Like, so it kind of gives them an idea of what to expect to with each child, how to approach each child with this program, because it is a program to teach special needs kids how to ride and have them up there riding. It's a kind of a little bit of a therapeutic program in that way too. So they have a volunteer with each child, and then each child gets up on a horse, and then they do like a ride around an indoor kind of, well, I wouldn't call it a stadium, whatever you would call it. They have like a big open barn that they do the riding in, basically. Building, indoor kind of riding arena. Yeah, so he starts that in the new year. It's going to be a Sunday afternoon kind of thing, so we're not sure exactly which Sunday it's starting on yet, but We've got them enrolled. We've got most of the forms in. We're just waiting now on this physician medical one, which I just had the phone appointment with her yesterday, just to confirm that none of his meds have changed without her knowledge, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, and it also will let them know about his speech too, that he's mostly has few select words, mostly gestures and nonverbal kind of thing. So that lets them know that too. But yeah, so that was just yesterday. So she's gonna get that completely filled out and then emailed it back to me, and then we'll pass that along to them. And yeah, he'll start that up in January. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes for him. I'm hoping he'll love it. I suspect it'll go one of two ways. These big, magnificent horses will kind of make him a little hesitant, and he won't know what to think. He might be a little bit scared, but I think they'll get him on. And then once he's up on the horse, I can see either he's not going to like it, or like when we put him up on a bike and push him around on a bike and get him pedaling, which is something new. We've been working with him on that as well. He's going to have a big shit-eating grin on his face. So, yeah, I suspect it'll go one of those two directions. Honestly, he's a pretty happy-go-lucky kid. So, more realistically, I can see him maybe being hesitant, kind of unsure. But eventually comfortable, and then the big grin on his face. That's more what I suspect is going to happen. It'll be kind of a combination of the two, but we'll see. I mean, he's seen horses, so it's not like he hasn't seen them before, but he's never been up close or on top, or like up on their back kind of thing. He's always just kind of seen them in the field, or their little corral area outside at our horse stables kind of thing. He's seen us though, like if he's further back and not rushing up to the kind of fence and not spooking them, that he's seen us kind of approach and them approach the fence, and us giving them kind of pats and scritches and pets. So, yeah, it's not like he's not unfamiliar necessarily with them. It's just, I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning thing for him. But they work with all of that, of course, and I'm sure the horses they choose for their program too are probably some of their more tame, calm horses that can kind of don't get easily spooked, have a little bit more of a tolerance for loud or erratic movements than other horses can, that kind of thing. So even tempered horses, I would imagine too, is what they'll be working with. And of course, he's not going to be left alone with the horses. He's going to have a volunteer with him at all times, his own individual volunteer with him. So that should be fun. We have our meet and greet for that program next week in the evening. So we'll probably find out a little bit more during all of that too. What else? Yeah, pretty much that's what we're getting ready, is filling out forms and gearing up for our holiday season, because the hubby is likely going to be on his Christmas break after today. My son will have another week of school, and then he'll be on his Christmas break for 2 weeks. So his last day of classes are on like the 19th, I think it is, which is the Friday, and then he's got 2 full weeks of winter break and goes back January 5th to school. We have family that's coming into town for Christmas. My sister and her hubby are going to come up. There's that all happening. So we're going to get this month is going to still be pretty busy going forward. Tonight I've got Axel, who you've heard me talk about, is my parents' dog. He's the Weimanheimer, about the same age as Ace. A little bit younger, I think, by like 2 months, but they're pretty much the same age. Well, he got his neutering done, like, what was that now, 2 days ago? 3 days ago? Just recently. My parents have a meeting, though, that they want to go to tonight, but he can't be left alone. He's wearing a little surgical suit for dogs, so it's like a little PJ body suit that protects the stitches and all of that. So, but the thing is, he can't jump up, he can't do any crazy running around, that kind of thing. You have to keep him pretty calm and quiet. So yeah, he's not ready to be left by himself just yet. He's still on the healing side of things. So because they want to go to the movie, I'm going to pop over just before they have to, not movie, meeting. I'm going to pop over just before they have to leave to get to that, and basically dog sit until they get home. So that will be tonight. They just messaged me last night if I'd be willing to scoot over to their place to do that. They're not far. They're like a 5-10 minute drive from me. They're pretty much on the other side of the mall in another little neighborhood. So not bad to get over there. So yeah, I'll probably, I don't know, I might bring over something crafty that I can work on, like my pixels or something that I can just sit at the dining room table and work on for the 2.5 hours or whatever that they're out. Maybe 3, depending on roads at that time of night. Or I might bring over my laptop and play a game on my laptop in the living room, kind of thing. Maybe bring my book to read. I'm not sure yet. I'm humming and hawing which thing I feel like doing, pretty much. Because I know I'll be home early enough that I'll get a chance to read before I go to bed too, and maybe have a little bit of time to do something else. So yeah, we'll see. That's my plan tonight, to go out and brave the cold weather, because we have snow, of course, because it's Edmonton and it's Canada, and we always have snow in winter. But today itself is minus 23 already. With the wind chill, it feels like minus 33, and that's in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, and minus. So it's pretty chilly out there. Pretty chilly. So I'm not looking forward to that part of it, going out to the cold. But, okay, maybe I'll have some tea once I'm at my mom's to warm up, or have a tea when I get home from there or something. But yeah, that's about it for catching up on all the personal stuff, so to speak. It's been going on my last 2 weeks. So we will dive into the channel updates, all that good stuff. I'm just seeing what my next color is here. I am still waiting on the Black Friday order. The 2 kits that I ordered were like a pre-order. I think their first original start to send out date potentially is today. So hopefully that'll get sent out fairly soon here and get tracking its way to its new home. So yeah, waiting on that. Of course, there's the good old Facebook group. If you haven't joined us, come join us over there. I link all that kind of information up down at the bottom in the description. You can show us what you're working on, both diamond painting, crafty wise, see what other people are up to, ask any crafty diamond painting related type questions, and just generally get to hang out with people that are a part of the channel community, getting to know them better, getting to know me better, because I do pop on there from time to time. We're still very small, so it's not crazy active. And we go through some kind of quiet periods from time to time, so there's that. I missed one of these colors. But definitely want to see that grow, so if that sounds like something you might enjoy, definitely join us over there and start having some fun. Channel will probably, I usually do some sort of break around the holidays, and that's mostly because I have the little man who's home from school. It's a pretty busy time of month between the holidays, and especially if I have family in town, we're usually running around doing lots of things with family. So I'm not 100% sure what this holiday is going to look like. I do have family coming in town, but it's not. And there are some things planned, but they're not necessarily set in stone on certain days. What I'm thinking right now, which could change, and of course I will let you know if that changes once we're closer to. But what I'm thinking is I should be able to at least get videos. It might not be like my normal run of videos, but I'm thinking I'll still be able to get up videos after the Christmas is over and kind of leading into the new year. I'm thinking I'll be able to kind of start up the channel then. It just might be like 3 unboxing videos or like those kind of things that I won't probably have time to do a whip and chat or ghostly echoes for that week. But I'm thinking I still might be able to get videos out, content out for you to watch. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, and then just kind of having a channel break the week of Christmas, which is I think the 22nd through whatever it is. Kind of having that week as nothing happening on the channel, just no videos. But of course I will let you know if that's going to change at all and how it will change if it does. So basically that information will be put up on the community tab. So you'll see any kind of updates, that kind of thing there. I'm also going to put this up on the community tab when I get a moment, but this is also the time of year that I kind of take a peek over the channel in the last year and kind of start brainstorming what it's going to look like in the upcoming year, all that kind of good stuff. So if there's something you want to see more of, definitely let me know. If there's something you want to see less of, definitely let me know that too. If you have any sort of ideas or suggestions that you'd like to see on the channel, definitely let me know all of that as well. And the ways you can let me know that is down below in the comment section of this video, or like I said, I'll post it over on the community tab. You can always let me know in the community tab under that topic, or you can, if you're uncomfortable with that method, I do have my how to contact me. My email for the channel is down in the description box below as well. You can just email it to me personally and I'll look it over. But yeah, I'm just kind of gathering ideas of videos to look at, trying to get out new fresh ideas. If there's something you particularly like and want to see more of, like I said, or if there's something that you're sick of seeing, let me know that too, because then maybe I can shuffle some of that newer, more exciting stuff and some of that stuff that's just kind of out and about. Yeah, so usually I do, like I said, I do brainstorming. I'll start writing down ideas that I come across in my head too. I've already kind of got a couple that I'm thinking of, and I'm really going to try my best to get them out and happening this year. There's one that I've had for a while And I just finding the time to get it started has been the biggest thing. But once I get it started, it's not going to be so bad. It's just get myself there, and sometimes it's definitely doable. Throw those out. Don't be shy. Like I said, if I can do it, if I can work with it, if I can find a way to make it happen, if it inspires me, for sure, I'm more than happy to kind of jot it down and get it into the mix. I mean, obviously with realistic expectations, because I am a stay-at-home mom and with a special needs child, and we do lots of appointments and things like that. So I mean, I'll work it in where I can as I can. So it's not like a tomorrow thing, but I'll definitely, like I said, if it's reasonable, if it's something I can do, then I'm definitely open to it. I apologize for my phone doing its little dingy ding. I'm throwing that out there. So definitely would love to hear ideas on that. One thing I thought about, which I don't know, obviously lots of new people have kind of joined the channel since I've started as well. I know I did, like, at the very beginning, kind of an about me style whip and chat. If you'd like to set it up where I'm doing a Q&A whip and chat, then let me know down below as well if that's something you want to see. If you want to be able to ask some questions about diamond painting stuff, crafty stuff, whatever, about me personally that you'd kind of like to know or are curious about. Obviously, I'll kind of look over the questions, and if I'm comfortable answering, because obviously I'm not going to give away like my home address or exactly where I live, that kind of thing. But definitely within reason, I will answer the questions. So, yeah, let me know if that's something that interests you as well. It's something I thought that it's been a while since I've kind of done something like that, so maybe people might be interested in it. Or I can hold off and wait, and yeah, I'm still waiting to get my new space cleaned up and down painted and down in it. My hubby's supposed to be doing all of that for me, but he's been busy with between work and his channel and all of that, that it's just kind of been put aside, which I told him was going to happen when he moved out of that room. And I mean, I only half jokingly said it to him, but at the same time, I knew it was also a very real possibility, and it wasn't as much of a joke as what it should have been. But yeah. So yeah, once we do that, I'm hoping to set up and start doing lives, because it would be nice. I don't really have the space or wonderful background behind me here because it's so crammed and cluttered and not set up, and not easily to set up for something like that in this current space. So yeah, I know that was something I had talked about at one point. I have the webcam now to do it, so I do have the equipment for it. I just don't... I need to set it up in a way where I'm able to do it easily, and right now I can't do that. So that's kind of what's held me back there. But that's something that hopefully I can kind of get going, hopefully in the new year, and ideally early new year, not like end of the year. But yeah, that's up in the air, like I said, because there's still stuff in my hubby needs to clear out that I can't clear out myself. And then of course there will be the transitioning into the space and setting everything up in a way that works for the channel and my crafty projects at the same time. So yeah, I think that is really about it for kind of channel updates, where my mind's at with things. I'm not going to tell you any specific video ideas or series that I have, because I don't want to make promises until they kind of happen. But I'm definitely starting to gather some ideas by way of that, to kind of introduce some new fresh things, or what might be considered fresh. It might not be for you, but certainly new creative things on my end, and for this channel as well. So yeah, I'm gonna start making my little notey notes and seeing what I can put into play and when. So yeah, definitely, like I said, if you have ideas for any of that, any suggestions, now's the great time to kind of toss them my way, because they'll get shuffled into the mix. Or most likely shuffled into the mix, I should say. As long as, like I said, it's something I can manage. That's really kind of the biggest factor. And I think I will leave it here, because there's not much else I can add. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by putting in my ABs here. Nothing else really that I can add for channel updates. That's kind of where we're sitting at. I usually kind of, like I said, do a little bit of an eval on the channel, what things I want to, what stay, go, add, start looking at inspiration for new videos, that kind of thing. So yeah, now's the time that I like to do that, and I definitely like to do that during in around the holidays, because not only is it the year end, but also I kind of have, I usually, like I say, take that week, at least a week. I think past years, most of them I've done 2 weeks, but I kind of take that break and step back from the channel to, I'll probably go in and maybe clean up some of the playlists a bit, because I do have one that's a little bit more generic, that's called unboxings from other companies, and there's been, and I think that's where I've been putting my Look art unboxings, which now I've had a couple of Look unboxings, and I feel like they're going to be a fairly consistent PR package, or at least I'm hoping they're going to be. So I might separate them out into their own unboxing playlist, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's basically what I'll be looking at. I'm going to leave the whip and chat at that. I know I still have a bunch of ABs here to place. I'm not going to ramble on and on and on when it's just going to be nonsense at this point, or randomness. I'll leave you here, and of course I'll see you in the next video with something new. Bye.